In this video, we're going to take a look at an introduction to InDesign and just the interface. We will get more into the individual tools and what they do in different videos. But for this video, we are just going to take a look at just what you're seeing and how the general mechanisms work in the program. So if I go down here, now I'm using a Mac. You might access it differently on your PC. You may have to go to the Start button or a different menu, but go ahead and launch InDesign, and when you pending, it may take a few seconds, but when it pops up here, you may get a welcome screen if it's a brand new opening, and that's fine. You can either click on to start from there, or if you've opened it before, you can probably see a screen like this, and you can create a new or open a past document, and you'll also see that your most recent, if you have several, will be visibly there in a thumbnail grid. So we can either create new here, or we can go up to the very top menu. So when you open InDesign, you'll still have a very top menu at the top of your screen that allows you to access all of your tools and options. So if all else fails, you always have that. But you're going to see that, as intimidating as it looks at the beginning, these Adobe programs are designed to allow everyone to customize their workspace to make it really comfortable, because it has so many capabilities in so many projects across print and web. So it's a matter of just making it as customizable as possible for the person using the program for whatever reason. So let's start a document here. And I'm just going to do a document, not a book or anything. And when you have this pop-up window, you've got several options as well. So you'll always have this top menu up here that allows you to, if you have a saved template or something, you can go to saved. We're going to be using print and mobile in this program. So if we click on print, you'll see the different presets. You know, we already have a letter size, legal size, tabloid. And if you notice, things are not in inches here. So when we deal with print across like magazine spreads or designing for magazines or things like that, we actually talk in a matter of picas, which is a different unit of a inch. So you'll see it naturally in picas for the most part. You can adjust this and change that to inches or points, which is another smaller unit of an inch. So you'll see that your typeface size and things like that are all in points regardless. You also have web presets, and in all of these presets you also have a lot more. If you click on that button, you've got templates down at the bottom, and you've got presets for your basic standard sizable items, like legal long envelopes, things like that. You also have web for designing web pages and the different size screens, and you also have mobile. So when we do your final project, we will be designing for an iPhone 6 Plus, so we would have that preset here, but you've got all the different types of mobile devices out there in general for designing for those types of screens. And you'll notice that in mobile, the units automatically switch to pixels, which is what we would be dealing with in a mobile setting. So we're going to select just a letter size document here just to get things going. You can title it and name it here and save it automatically from the start. If you scroll down, you've got other presets that you can give detail to. You can add a column grid. You can set your text margins. This is automatic, usually as a default 1/2 inch, which is 3 picas. And at the bottom, a bleed and a slug. We will be using bleed margins for images and things that bleed off the page. Slug, we don't have to worry about. So let's create. And when you open a document, you will see that you have a lot of tools and icons, and so that's kind of intimidating at first. Again, you have this top menu at the very top, so I can go up here and go into edit, and there's a lot of these things that you won't have to use for this class. So the windows, those are going to be vital to this area over here on the right of your screen, so we'll talk about that. But let's look at this overall screen here. Aside from, or in addition to the top menu bar at the very top of your screen, you also have several options here at the top. We call this the panel, the tool panel. And you're going to see different options up here depending on the tool that you're using. So if we look just to the left here, we will see all of our tools, and we won't be using all of these, but we'll be using several of them. And the cool thing about InDesign, like I mentioned before, you have all of these ways of customizing your workspace. If you notice these little bars on all of the screens here, on these little areas where there's icons, those are letting you control those panels and bars. So if I wanted to move this panel somewhere else to have it more accessible or change its view, I can do that. I can move it out. And the way to move it back in is I can just click on that bar again on the end, and when I move it back up here, you'll see a blue line flash that's letting me know that it's ready to go back in that area. I can do the same with my toolbar. I can move it out here, and you can see anytime you see an arrow on any of these tools, here it's a double arrow on the windows and on the toolbar. But down here, even on these tools, that means there's more tools in that box or in that area. On this, that means I can create a different view. I can make it horizontal if you'd rather have a horizontal menu bar or toolbar, or I can make it double columned for a different view. But you've got about 3 views you can have for your toolbar. And again, I can move it back over here, back over to the edge if I want to. Also, you'll notice this tab here. When you have documents open, they'll line up in tabs along this bar. So if I were to open another document that I did recently, so let's see my syllabus here. I'll just open the syllabus for a second. So notice it opened in this tab. So I can switch back and forth from document to document. So if you are using elements from one document and copying and pasting them over to another, you could do that very easily and things like that. So you'll see a tab bar here with your documents. They'll eventually line up. You can also separate that and make it into its own screen if you would like. So same thing, I can drag it back up here and put it back. And you will also have a menu. I'm sorry, not a menu, but a ruler here on the top and on the left side. And it's probably going to be in picas as well, as far as its units. You can change that by going up to the corner, up at the top left here. And you can right click or control click. And you can change this as well. Like if you want to look at it in inches, might be easier to gauge. And wherever your cursor is on the page, you can see where it falls along that vertical and horizontal ruler. All right, let's look at the right side over here. Now what Adobe does that seems intimidating, but in actuality it's just making your workspace more customizable for the user or person making the work. Whatever tool I'm in, so if I go to the type tool here, and whatever you scroll over, it will tell you what it is. So that's my underline. Over here in my toolbar, if I hover there, it's my selection tool, and it also gives me my shortcut keys in the parentheses out to the side. So it'll let you know what the shortcuts are for those tools. So if I'm in the type tool, you'll see that all of my character and paragraph tools, anything dealing with type, is up here. And I can switch back and forth. Right now it's in my character formatting controls. I can switch that to paragraph where it shows pretty much just all of my paragraph controls. So all of these tools are also over here. We call these the tool windows. So we've got a panel, we've got a toolbar, and we've got tool windows. So these windows make things accessible as you're working. For instance, even in my type tool, it automatically gives me my character options here. I can go up to my window menu at the very top, and anything dealing with type is going to be under type and tables. I can also open my character window from there. But anytime you open and close your character window, well, here's my character window, character styles, there's my character. It's going to open up the same exact options. So all of these options are right up here in a horizontal format in the panel. So Adobe makes things easier by putting the same tools in multiple locations for accessibility. So as you design your workspace, for instance, I would like to have my character window open. I would like to have my paragraph window open. I use my layers and I use glyphs a lot. So all of these windows I have open here. And I can separate these. But if I'm using them primarily for a certain project, what I can do is I can add them together. See how I've got tabs of my different windows here already? I can move these things around and put the tool options that I want together in the same box or in the same window. So here I have layers and paragraph styles together, but if I don't want that together, I can move these over in their own icon. Say I want my character menu with that, and say I want my glyphs in the same window, and let's say I want my swatches also in the same window. So I can move these back over to my side bar over here. These double arrows close and open those so you can see them as small as an icon view, and then open them up as well. And you can shorten the length of them to fit things how you want them. So you can really customize the space here. I can put that in the middle there. So if I open my layers window, I've actually opened up all of these, and I can switch back and forth. And you can access also the top right in the little stacked hamburger icon here, your different options for your characters or your typeface. So you have all those options here. Adobe makes it really easy to customize your workspace. You can save that workspace. It's automatically got some presets here, but say you like everything in your interface exactly how you want it, and you've got it exactly how you want it, you can go to New Workspace and save that workspace. So when you do a project similar to what you're doing at the time, you can go ahead and save all your windows and have them pop up like you want them in that workspace for that project. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier. And at the bottom here, you've got a few more little options here. You do have your scroll, but you can move your mouse and get around as well. At the bottom here, this is going to tell you how many pages. In this document, we have 1 page. So if I had 10 pages, I could go from page to page. It would list all the pages, so I could go from page to page without scrolling. And you have some different things here in terms of the type of basic working format. And your pre-flight window is important. Notice this little green dot and no errors. So this is called the pre-flight window. So if I want to open this pre-flight panel, it opens up as a window over here. And this basically keeps up with anything that I put in my document. So if I'm using a typeface that's not in the InDesign database or Typekit, and I don't have it installed on my computer, it's going to show me that I have a missing font. What that means that it's going to if anybody else opens up this document, they're not going to be able to see that typeface. So it will substitute a default typeface in its place, such as Minion Pro. That's usually the go-to there. It's important to check your pre-flight window before you turn in any projects, and check for errors. Usually they'll be listed here. When you double click on those, it will show you where they are in your document. So always check that you have no errors before you save your work, or for final submissions, because that's a big deal. All right, so this is the basic interface when you open, and we'll get into the tools as we progress. The only thing I think I need to show you here is at the very top above the panel, you also have some options that relate to the entire document. And again, you can scroll over those with your cursor and it will tell you what they are. Bridge is another Adobe program that allows you to connect, it's underused actually by a lot of people, including myself. I should use it more. But it basically allows you to go from program to program, and it holds all of your documents. So if I were adjusting a photo in Photoshop and then placing it in an InDesign document for a layout, I could just grab it from Bridge. It keeps up with, like a clipboard, all of the things you're using when you're using the programs. And if you have an account, you also have access to Adobe Stock, which is kind of like an image database for Adobe. This is the zoom level of your document and how you're viewing it. You have different view options here as well, and here. And you can also have different windows open. So all of these things, you'll use some of these things, but you won't have to use all of them here. This should get you oriented with what some of these things and placements are of these icons. And like I said, we'll get into some of these icons more specifically in different videos. So thanks for listening, and I hope this helps give you a nice orientation to the program.